All right, thank you so much. The program stay here this morning on ITV. I told you that we're going to be looking at what happened yesterday on the floor of the House of Representatives, whereby the probe panel committee set up by the presidency to look into the issue, the corruption allegation leveled against the managing director of NDDC, talking about Professor Keme Bradikumo, Daniel Pondai, that collapsed on Monday. And it's something that people are not just comfortable with. When you look at the issue of corruption in the country, most especially as it concerns this administration, some say that, well, this administration started in a very good light. Why some say that all those efforts that the administration started with, we are not seeing them anymore. Well, to look at all this today, looking at the probe saga on Monday on the House of Representatives, we are so privileged to have two eminent discussants here. First and foremost, we have Dr. Jude Obasomi. For quite some time now, he has not been on set because of his very, very busy schedule. Doctor, you're welcome to this program.
Thank you very much.
Now, the last time I introduced you, it was just Jude Obasomi, but now you have a new affix to your name, Doctor.
And to God be the glory.
All right, you're welcome.
Thank you. And again, why have not become because of our bad road from Escoma down to...
Well, I know what we're talking about.
I don't mention it in passing.
All right, thanks for coming.
Thank you.
We also have Leo Ibagwa joining us on this program. Leo, you're welcome to this program.
Thanks for having me.
You're welcome.
Good morning.
Now,
Good
Dr.
morning,
Jude Obasomi, right from on Monday, Nigeria has become a place that people talk about when it comes to corruption. When it also has to do with the efforts put together by this administration. Now, let's look at the Keme Bradikumo's case, Professor Keme Bradikumo, Daniel Pondai's case. Do you see this as, did you see it coming this way?
Thank you very much, and good morning once again. When this current president came on board and he said we're going to fight corruption, some of us applauded the bold initiative. But when we now looked at those he brought together to implement this fight, some of us became more worried and disturbed about the strategy of implementing this fight against corruption. Starting from the issue of Magu in the FCC, there were a lot of controversies, but the presidency came up and said, no, I want this man because he's good. And now in the last couple of months, we must have heard of what Magu was alleged to have committed. Very frightening. Now, the issue of the NDC came on board. And for some of us, we are not surprised at the drama that took place at the National Assembly. All these are plans put in place by these individuals that feel that nobody can ask them questions. And once they pretend, right, that they can go through with it. In the case of what happened on Monday, based on the tension, the learned prof, so to say, passed through, it's not unexpected that based on tension, so to say, that he collapsed. But someone that collapsed, if we go through if we decide to have a forensic analysis of that video clip, the one I saw on my TV, someone that fainted cannot be struggling with his hand, trying to lift his hand up, and people were also trying to open his mouth. Was it convulsing? So for me, his collapse is of no consequence at all. What Nigeria should be thinking about is what happened thereafter. I've been saying this, Nigeria looks like a theater where people come to act different dramas. Before you are surviving one, another scene will come up. A case in point in this particular, it has to do with increase in various issues coming up. One, we had issues involving Oshomola and his party. That one took some time. Thereafter, we heard about this increase from the prices of petroleum products. That one, we're about to recover from that. The Magu case came on board. Now people are trying to understand the mechanism involved in Magu's suspension or removal. Now another scene is coming up again. So you can see how the government has decided not to even appeal to the conscience of Nigerians. Let Nigerians that find we actually have to lead, to support, to ensure that the rights are being done, but rather they keep on to create different circumstances, different situations that will make the average man to lose interest. Now, if you look at the current exchange rate now, as of this morning, as of yesterday, it's about 471 naira to a dollar, which means that on the average, 471 Nigeria is equivalent to 1 American, which is quite shameful. And yet, we are talking about the fight against corruption. I'll say that we are not getting it right at all. And what is happening at the various pro panel, it does not in any way present the required light for people to show that, to know that things are going on correctly. People are talking about the corruption in different sectors. One would least expect a professor to be involved in that level of, sorry, it's still an alleged situation.
The way he behaved.
Yeah, the way he behaved. But to me, there's nothing new at all. Sorry, anybody can faint based on different situations.
But again, we can also give it to him, because we remember that his doctor once hinted that he was not having a stable health situation. So if he had collapsed, it's possible that it was true that he was not okay.
Excuse me, when they were busy reallocating and appropriating those funds, didn't the same doctor tell him that it was not okay to do that when he was appointed? At least that kind of, the acting main director, and it's not a small tax, intellectually is taxing, fiscally is also taxing. He don't have told him, you are not fit for this job. And it's quite sad. So those excuses are just coming up. Let's see the reasons that we can give why the man decided to act like that. And again, anybody can fall sick. It should pray that God should heal him, he should recover and come and fill the queries. You know.
All right, Leo Bagua, we also have the Honorable Minister of Niger Delta, Godswill Akpabio, also part of this whole probe saga. Immediately after we saw the drama that Keme Bradikumo acted, we saw the NDDC, the Niger Delta Minister coming to face the panel. And of course, he said something that most Nigerians are really not, they're happy about it. Because it's very, very revealing. I mean, for a whole honorable minister to own up that more than 60% of those contracts that's, you know, are questionable in terms of, in this corruption issue, were given to honorable members of the House of Representatives. Now, the update on that now is that the Speaker, Femi Gbajabiamila, has given a 48 hours, deadline to make sure that he lists those that the contracts were given to. And also, some people have also saying that for Femi Gbajabiamila to have said that, okay, Pondai need not to appear before the panel anymore. For the fact that he has written an already written report, that's okay. Now, do you see the position of Femi Gbajabiamila as being truthful in all this?
Well, the truth is that what happened within the week is actually a show of shame. A show of shame in the sense that what the Minister for Minister of Niger Delta Affairs has also said, Senator Akpabio, tells you what is going on in all the ministries, almost all the ministries, or rather most of the government agencies in the country. There's so much rot that is going on in this country. And I want to believe that Senator Akpabio did not miss words, because most of those contracts...
But again, he was indirectly indicting himself, because the implication of that statement is that it's a system that has been on. He was member of the 8th Assembly. So if the 9th Assembly got majority of the contract, then it then means that as a member of the 8th Assembly, he probably got the contract
If you listen to him when he was speaking, he said he has once been on the other side. He has once been on the committee when he was a senator. So he knows what is happening. He's not exonerating himself. He's telling you that this is what has been happening in the system. That most of these contracts are being awarded to either the senators or the rep members and onward to the contractors. Because the truth of the matter is that most of these people, they have agents that they front for. So these contracts come through them, and the contractors get them. So what Senator Akpabio has said is not far from the truth. Jude, you need to see. I mean, Evans, you need to see what is actually going on, even in the petroleum industry. If such a probe is even open in the petroleum industry, it will shock you what you see, because there are certain things some persons know, even most of us know, you can't even say it, because most of these contracts are gotten by these people that we expect that should be in charge of our commonwealth. My concern here now is that not all this jamboree, how is it going to end? Is any person going to pay a price for it? Now, to go to what the speaker has just said, for me, that's the speaker is not even expected to say that, because the reason being that, from what he has said, he has kind of put a stop to what Akpabio wants to do.
Yeah, but he was applauded for that.
Yes, some persons will applaud him, but now dare Akpabio to tell him write the names. Then that guy cannot go forward. Because what I expected him to say is, okay, now from your confession and from your allegation that most of these honorable members are involved in this shady deals, then let's take this matter to the Code of Conduct Bureau and let them and let the case be charged to court, and let's see those who are actually indicted. Let the court find out those that are indicted in this show of shame and let them be punished for it. So not for you to say, give us names. When the names are given to the Honorable Speaker, what is he going to do with the names? Who among them can the Speaker sanction among his colleagues? Just tell me one among them that the Speaker can sanction.
Yeah, the Speaker also said that failure to do that, the full weight of the law, the wrath of the law is going to fall on
Akpabio. Will not fall on Akpabio.
Also means that if the minister successfully gives the list, then the House may have a way of showing those that are indicted.
He doesn't need the minister to give the list. All he needs to do was to tell the committee to just write a recommendation and charge this case to the probe to the Code of Conduct Bureau, and let the Ministry of Niger Delta come up with their files, and let's see those persons that contracts were awarded to and how they get the contract. Because the truth of the matter is that we begin to talk of corruption. Corruption, when you use your office which you represent to influence a contract, I think that's the highest corruption. When you use the office which you represent to influence an appointment into any offices, is the height of corruption, because you have denied other persons who is supposed to get that job from getting the job. So what is, for me, I do not agree. Look at what has happened the following day now. You see the pro and the engaged protest that comes up. Some people were for Akpabio, while some were engaged, trying to shield the minister, from stop the probe from going on, which is what almost the same thing the governor of Governor Wike has also done, to obstruct justice when the police also came for the former DG, So for me, it's so shameful that even we, the Niger Deltans, are the one protecting these people. You see, my salute or my gratitude will go to those young men and women of the NGO who fought tooth and nail to see this day come on board. Because this young man, at the time I watch him on Arise Television, give time, date, and figures of this money that was looted by these people that are expected to keep this wealth for this country. And when he began to analyze it, for me, I fold my hands and say, how does this guy know this? And until the whole thing plays out. Okay,
let me pause you so that I'll come to Jude Obasumi. Jude, he talked about Joy Enunia, the former managing director of the NDDC, and of course she was in charge of the IMC of the NDDC now. Now, we've all read the story, and some of the developing stories are not palatable. Sex allegations, sex harassment, and all that, to the extent that she even said that she threatened that the Honorable Minister had to be personal against his own matrimonial background, that how she has been 4 times married and all that. Now, but if you look at Joy Nunez's claim, she said that there were write-ups that the Honorable Minister, wrote to her, requesting her to pay XYZ contractors certain amounts of money, that those write-ups were not supposed to be from her. Now, if we have all this, can we then say that the Honorable Minister prevented Joy Nunez, or that Joy Nunez, was not trying to find a way whereby this corruption issue can really be brought to book?
You see, thank you very much. Let's not wait for the football match to end before the coach will now say, let me change this player. When you have, within the regulatory time, you have that opportunity to change your players. But in Nigeria, we wait for the time to come to a close before we now begin to say, if I had known, I would have changed this player. In the case of the IMC late what I decided to the former interim management committee person. Why must we always wait to be out of office before we now begin to complain that the system under which I worked at the particular time was not conducive for me to work effectively.
Yeah, but she said that when the probe started, they said that she spent some certain amount of money that she did not spend.
Just hold on.
Yeah.
You see, when you work in it, like for me personally, if I work in the system and I'm not comfortable and I'm unable to give my best, I walk out. You leave. Not for you to say, let us manage, let us try to see what we can do, let's see how we can correct it. And when you are booted out, you're not being to come. And again, note this, some people are also of the position that the IMC is not even constitutional, that you cannot even go ahead and appoint an interim management committee. So for her coming to complain and lay what I may call some allegation is not required at this moment at all. They're not trying to see what they can bring up again that will not allow Nigerians not to focus on the substance. Do you understand? Because that's what is happening in Nigeria. When something comes up that is so critical, people will, those involved will not want Nigerians to look at the issue properly, but rather they look for all those other activities that are not connected to it at all. When it was rosy between her and the Honorable Minister, none of us got to know. We are aware of how they give her contract. You go to the NDDC office in Port Harcourt, even in Benin, that they are noted for, renting properties. They never own, like some companies. They don't own their own property. They derive a lot of joy in renting properties. Look at the quality of jobs done by why you serve that committee. We don't have to specification. All this is being done. You also consultants who go to monitor. So you can see the lapses of fraud in the system. But what some of us are canvassing for that, enough of all these whistle blowing. Now, we blow a lot of whistle, and then nothing good comes out of this whistle blowing. Let's take some proactive actions that people that are tending towards corrupt practices now can have everything, but then nothing like that takes place. We only hear that somebody stole a goat in the marketplace, went ahead to go and sell or to consume it. The next thing, under 2-3 months, that person is jailed, sentenced to 6 months, 1 year in prison. But those that commit this monumental fraud, so to say, they are allowed to go freely. And what do you expect the average Nigeria to feel about corruption? When you still big, good for you. When you still little, man, you are in trouble. So we continue to work towards asking God to give some of us opportunity to be able to steal enough wealth. I tell you, corruption is corruption. If you are privileged enough to manage 1,000 naira and you steal 100 naira, that is 10% of 1,000 naira. And if you are given an opportunity to also, manage 1 million and you steal about 100,000, that's also 10%. The issue of corruption is corruption, irrespective of the amount involved. Like he said now, in our fact to influence the process, it's all corruption. And the lady, to be sincere, I would love to appeal to her. If she has other convincing facts, she can present them so that those that are involved, if she is now telling Nigerians that she was lured into it, she was pressurized to do what was wrong, then let us know so that other people too can also come and learn. But again, let us know this.
No, she hasn't said that she was lured in any way. She said the reason why she came out was because she was accused to have spent about 22 billion naira, whereas she said she spent about 8 billion naira. That was why she came out. 22
billion naira? Yeah. No, excuse me. Maybe I don't want to say this on air right now. Yeah. There are more to it. She even accused them Akpabi of some sex scandal issues.
Yeah, it's all.
I will not be privileged to interact with Akpabi, or the ladies. I don't want to go into that at all. I believe that if there is something wrong in the system, and we have functional institutions that are expected to check all these practices, things like this will not come up. It's just that we believe that maybe the police force, so to say, is corrupt. We now get Mr. Z, who is upright, who is diligent, who knows his work very well, and go and put him there. He will try to work to
But don't you also think that the way the Honorable Minister was trying to go about the go about Joy Nunez's case in the first place was wrong? I mean, trying to get her arrested without an arrest warrant, if not for the intervention of the governor of Rivers State.
That is why I beg to depart from the scenario. When certain illegalities are done against big people, we talk. Most people are in Benin City, even in Nigeria, policemen will just come to your house, enter your house, arrest you and bundle you and take you away. And when you talk, some person will say that they have the right to come and do that. Now, the same thing has played in the case in this particular case now, and we are complete. But it's wrong. The commissioner of police knows what is expected to be done. Why did not do it? That means that there are so many external forces, invisible hands, that are regulating the country. And not until we are able to identify those forces, there is no way we can get it right.
Okay. Now, Leo Bagwa, the silence of the presidency also bothers, this whole thing. I mean, people are asking, I mean, the president is supposed to come out at this time and make a categorical statement or position. I mean, revealing, issues really says that somebody must have really been corrupt along the line. What's your take on all this?
So I don't see anything wrong in the silence of the presidency as at this moment. The issue is unfolding. The saga is just unfolding, and there's still much time.
The probe panel has been suspended. No. Do you think they will go further? The position of the Speaker of the House of Representatives?
The probe panel have been suspended.
Yeah.
That is obstruction of justice. I said it before.
Yeah,
that
so
the speaker as a person, for me, I have no right to intrude or rather interfere into that process, because there is a process going on. And when you begin to make some statements, when you already know that some certain persons are to be indicted, probably you or some other persons are, going towards an area to be indicted, and you are already saying names, then you become suspicious. To me, I find it funny for the speaker to come out and say names, which means there is something there that is protecting. Otherwise, if you have nothing, if you've not done anything wrong, you fold your hands and let Akpabio name names on his own. So for you to dare him now to say names, which means you are threatening him, telling him names.
No, the integrity of the House.
Integrity of the House was what? No. The integrity of the House is not a question. Not in doubt, in the sense that it was the House that set up that probe. And the people sitting on that panel are members of the House of Representatives. So you expect the best from them. And I also love the outfront of that lady who said, "How dare you?" She presented her case, and I expect that lady to do a follow-up the following day and say, "Akpabio, this is it's a committee. It's a committee. Give us the names or give us your files. Then let us call the contractors and let us inquire from them." Who gave you this contract? How did you qualify to get this contract? I mean, it's a probe. You can go down to the bottom. It's a probe. Call a contractor, get his file, find out if he's qualified, even if he has a company, when did he register, and which contract has he been doing before that makes him to qualify for a contract of billions. Because for you to become a contractor handling billions of naira contract, which means you must have been doing one or two contracts before, which shows that you are qualified to spend such an amount. So when you've not done that, you just say, "Oh, because the Honorable Minister says," the Honorable Minister knows how these things work before. He knows how it was before. He was once a senator, and he was also a member of a committee.
All right, I'll come to you, Jude Basumi. Let's quickly look at the former chairman of the probe panel committee, Olubunmi Ojo, the APC man representing from Ondo State, the House of the Representatives. Now, immediately the whole issue became very clear that, look, somebody was going to indict some members. The guy stepped aside.
Yes.
Now, don't you think that somehow this whole thing really boils down to the fact that these House members may not go free at the end of the day?
Evans, for me, I would have expected by now that the Code of Conduct Bureau should take over this probe and let this House committee hands off, because they cannot even indict their fellow rep members. They cannot even punish any of their fellow rep members. Yeah. But if the Code of Conduct Bureau takes over this probe and follow it to the letter and see those anywhere you have interfered or you have unduly used your influence to inflate or to get a contract one way or the other for any contractor, then which means you have breached the conduct of the Code of Conduct Bureau. Then I think the lawyers know the sections for that, and the person should be charged to court and face the road of the law. So what the chairman has done, for me, he has done a very good thing, staying aside, because he has seen it that yes, now they want to be treading on a murky water. A lot of persons are going to get their hands burnt. But however, the best thing for him to do now is to step aside. Because you heard Akpabio, Senator Akpabio. He said the chairman, he said, you know. He was pointing with his fingers to him. He said, you know. He said, your chairman knows. He was pointing, the chairman of the committee knows how it works. And that is the truth. And that is how it works. You see, let me tell you, corruption is already an institution in this country. Corruption is already an institution in this country. It's unfortunate that Mr. President has become a victim. A victim in the sense that he is alone in this fight, in this corruption.
Mr. President, I think the whole nation. Yeah.
No, why I say so is that Mr. President is just alone fighting this corruption. And you can't do this alone. Okay. And none of the institutions in this country is ready to fight this corruption.
Okay. Now, Jude Obasumi, you are from the civil society. Let's look at your own position. The CSOs, namely some group of CSOs, have reacted. And one of their strongest position on this is that the act establishing NDDC should be looked at one more time, so that even if by law they can spend XYZ amount, it shouldn't just be a free thing as such. Then secondly, some people have also said that NDDC should be scrapped. Now, what do you think would be the implication of all this? Okay,
before coming to respond to your question, let me just make a little
reference to what
he said. If you look at the outburst of Akpabio, I greatly empathize with him. But under that condition, the best thing for him was to begin to talk coordinatedly. And for the speaker who mention names, you will not blame him also. Because under that condition, the whole world was looking at him. What is he going to say? Will he just remain mute? And if he had going to remain mute, that would have been worse off for him. Now he has said, I'm giving you 48 hours. Yeah. 48 hours is today. Let us see what
it expires tomorrow. If he said that,
he said on Monday. To the Monday.
Okay.
To the Monday.
Okay. So hopefully at the end of today.
No problem. If you are not proposing tomorrow, let's assume tomorrow. Let's see what will come out. See, for some of us, it's not a matter of just talking and talking and talking and talking. Let's try to do more of action. In Nigeria, we are just noted for talking and talking and less of action. And if my brother is not saying that President Buhari, my dearest president, is just alone in this fight, he's also involved in this corruption. Recall when he traveled the other time, he spent over 100 days abroad. People were trying to find out the state of his health. It was hidden from all Nigerians. Nobody got to know. I'm coming. Hold on. Excuse me. When you are elected to a position, you are saying things that are no longer private.
Yeah, when you say corruption, I think we have to be specific.
What is corruption?
We're talking about financial corruption here.
Okay,
so let's
fine. I think we'll narrow it down to
people watching out there, because when you say he's involved in the
when the House said that Magu was not fit, he was imposed. And now the same Magu that you said was fit, you have gone night to come and ask him to leave. Then coming back to your question, yes, we have been involved in trying to see how best we can have refined policies, regulations. But in Nigeria, realize that when those of us in the civil society sector do a lot of research, on record that the PIB bill, which is still ongoing, was part of those researches that we did some years ago, trying to see how best we can regulate the sector. But when it gets to the hallowed chambers, what comes out from the hallowed chamber is different from, what is usually sent today. When you now call for their normal, public hearings, it's not the same thing. You just go there, what they want to do is there. And again, too, now, when all these, for example, on the NDDC, when it was set up, I think it was Obasanjo that went ahead to set up NDDC. It was principally to cater for the gap in development. In the Niger Delta, they now felt that fine, the governors were working well, but we're getting much of our revenue from this region. Let's get a commission that will focus more. That was a good mandate, but right to unfortunately, when they went ahead to formulate the policies, the act, to regulate that of NDC, for them, they believe that if you are setting on the commission now, it's our own people that will go there. Not knowing that your people will go there, they will not stay there forever. Now it now went time now to come up with those kind of policies that now enable the NDC to, they report straight to the minister to do whatever they want to do. Do you understand? So that is where the gap came out from. But if you now have institutions that are in place and policies or programs or laws are made in such a way that there is a smooth transition, anybody that comes on board, maybe for example, I come to your studio, there's a policy, like when I came here now, what are the policies that you have to wash your hand, you have to wear a face mask and a few other things. Those are stated, given. So anybody that comes in there must follow. But in this case now, we just made certain laws that are not operational after a particular period. And again now, there's nothing wrong in reviewing laws. I've been stating this. When you make a particular law and it's not favorable to the people based on changing realities, there's nothing wrong in calling for a review. But in Nigeria, in as far as that law favors some of us, that law must continue to exist. But it's not proper. I believe that with what is going on now, it's high time for the federal government to see how best we can review some of these laws that people are now capitalizing on to commit a lot of illegality in the land. For me, scrapping of NDC to me is not the solution, because now you now have the Northern Development Commission also put in place to, you can see, and those guys now are also doing good works. But in our case now, the case of dog eating dog, we said no, that we make all the money, we take it to Abuja, now they give us NDDC, we are unable to effectively use it for the developer community.
As we wrap up now, some of the reactions on this NDDC probe saga is that Sani, the former member that represented Kaduna at the Senate, has said that the NDDC is the biggest problem that Niger Delta region of the country has. Leo Ibagwa, I don't know whether you agree with him.
Actually, NDDC, which is supposed to be a problem solver for the states in Niger Delta, has become the problem of Niger Delta, because if you look at the period that this money was spent, this period of lockdown, COVID-19, it will amaze you. So that goes to say, if we decide to go beyond this and go to when it was when NDDC becomes when it was enacted as a full-fledged board in this country, if you decide to go down the memory lane, you discover that it will amaze you that the routes that you find in NDDC. Just find out, has there been any of the NDDC commissioner who went to NDDC the way they are and came out, and they comes out richer than businessmen, whether you are NDDC commissioner in the state or in the federal. I don't. What will be your entitlement? This money is meant to develop your state and not to develop yourselves. So it has become a problem to we Niger Deltans, because the show of shame that we begin to see, the way our people loot money, for me, is madness, because in your 10th generation, cannot even finish this money. What do you do with this money?
All right, gentlemen, as we make our conclusions now, I'll just give you 30 seconds each. Do we see any good ending at the end of all this, Basumi?
Yeah, for me personally, I don't support the scrapping of NDDC.
Okay.
Or rather, we can overhaul the system and make it much more impactful.
Okay.
And put in place necessary checks to regulate whatever they are doing. And again, too, I call on the people benefiting communities. You have a right to cry out. You have a right to engage. By the time we do all this, I think we'll have a better community. But scrapping the NDC will be worse off for us, because we were designed to fill a gap, and that gap has not been filled.
Okay, and Leo Ibagwa.
The board of NDDC has been, they have been screened and waiting for inauguration, where Dr. Pius Dubu was made the chairman. For me, I call on Mr. President to please inaugurate that board, and also take over and be the overseer of NDDC. Let the board be reporting to the presidency.
We suspended that board. Do we see it coming back?
That is the only solution. That is the only solution, so that each state will be represented under that board, and they can put up a fight. They would, if all the states were represented, I doubt if they would have allowed the Ministry of Niger Delta to go out with that such billions that somebody had to faint and begin to add drama when he was being probed. So for me, I call on Mr. President right now to please, Mr. President, inaugurate that board. They have been screened by the Senate. Okay. So there's nothing holding them back, and let the presidency be the overseer of this NDDC board, And this Ministry of Niger Delta, that the board of NDDC should be taken from the Ministry of Niger Delta. They shouldn't be using it as their cup of tea.
Well, if you take that board from the Ministry of Niger Delta, it's
it's no longer under the. It shouldn't be under the supervision of the Honorable Minister for
Internal Affairs, Minister of.
It shouldn't be under the Minister of. I mean,
it should not be under the Ministry of Niger Delta.
It should not be under the Ministry of Niger Delta. Let it be under the supervision of the presidency.
Okay.
Let it be under the supervision of the presidency. So if it has to be under the
supervision of the president.
Yes, if it has to be the supervision of the president, let it be, because the purpose of this agency
has been defeated.
Of this board is for development.
Okay. All right, gentlemen. Because
I think,
of time,
I think it would be good also now for government to synergize the roles of NDDC and the ministry so that there will not be duplication of efforts.
Okay. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much. Now, we'll just watch the unfolding issue. We understand that the 48 hours actually elapsed today. So let's say today, tomorrow, we'll see what happens. As you know, Femi Gbajabiamila has given a 48 hours ultimatum that if nothing happens, if the list does not come up, that the House won't have any other option other than to put the full weight of the law on the Honorable Minister of Niger Delta Affairs, Godswill Akpabio. Well, let's take a very short pause now so that we can join all the segments. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us on this segment.
Good morning.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.